Thanks for staying with us here on the Urban Debate. We bring you a story that has raised many eyebrows, a response to an RTI that was filed about the use of the central scheme, the Ayushman Bharat scheme, a scheme that's been brought in to help people cover their health treatment costs. Now, the questions and the queries were specific to COVID treatment and COVID testing, and to what extent were these covered under the Ayushman Bharat scheme. So let's first give you the basics, and then we will get into where there seem to be questions which are arising right now. And to tell us more details, Ayushman is joining us. Ayushman, run us through the key takeaways from this. You know, a lot of conversations have happened that 75% of this fund seem to have been availed just by 5 of the southern and western states, whereas many of the North Indian states, the ones who would need a lot more help in terms of a fund and COVID care, haven't utilized it at all.
Yes, and in fact, if you go through the Ayushman Bharat's main motive, it is about providing treatment healthcare to people who are below poverty line. And if you go through the data that has come to us, it clearly indicates that the states like Jharkhand, Bihar, UP, where bulk of COVID cases were seen, the below poverty population is very high, haven't even utilized to the best of their potential. In fact, if you combine these 3 states, they have only provided the health benefit of less than 5 crore rupees. Bihar has only provided about 3 lakh rupees treatment to people who were in need of it. In Jharkhand, 3 crore has been used, and more than 1 crore has been used in Uttar Pradesh. If you go to the southern part of the country, states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, they have utilized it to the best of the potential. And if you add Maharashtra to the total tally, 94% of the total fund that has been used in Ayushman Bharat has been utilized by these 6 states, which includes Kerala, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. So the North Indian states, where these schemes should have benefited more and more people, it has been completely, we have seen that that has been completely sidelined, which clearly means people were not given the benefit, they did not avail the benefit, and government somewhere down the line did not do their best. On the contrary, the southern Indian states did perform well, and almost 90% and more than 94% of the fund out of the 2,223 crores has been utilized in 6 states in the southern and western part of the country.
Very quickly also, Ayushman, we had specific queries in terms of states like Punjab contradicting this data, saying we have utilized a lot of these funds. Even Jharkhand has a contradicting claim. What have you learned from the government in terms of that? Why is there a mismatch between what this data shows and what some states are claiming?
Yes, in fact, Tanvi, that was also a very important aspect, because in the RTI that has come to us, the data that has been reflecting against Punjab is 0. We reached out to the National Health Authority. They said that health is a state subject, and sometimes the updation of data gets stuck, or some problems take place. That is something that has happened in Punjab. We wanted to speak to the concerned official in Punjab. We tried him all through yesterday evening and all through today. We couldn't reach out to him, but NHA clearly said that Punjab has said that they have treated over 18,000 people, but because of the state subject and the module of operating and updating data was perhaps one of the aspects that was not considered, and that's why it is reflecting 0. In the state like Punjab, it is 0, but Punjab government says that they have provided the treatment to many people. So that is something NHA says, that perhaps some problem at the updation of data has taken place, Tanvi. But the state government maintains that they have provided the benefit to more than 18,000 people. That is contrary to what has been reflected in the RTI, where it has been shown that they have not given the benefit to anyone.
Okay, Ayushman, thanks so much for bringing us, the details of this story. Let's also say good evening to Dr. Nikhil Anand of the BJP, Dr. Narendra Gupta, advisor for Health Prayas and national co-convener for Jan Swasth Abhiyan, Dr. Ajay Kumar of the Congress, Dr. Sunil Singh of the JDU, Mr. Raghavan Srinivasan, senior journalist, former editor for the Hindu Business Line, and Abhay Chaudhary, YSRCP MLA and spokesperson, also joining us. We're going to actually speak about separate states governed by separate parties to get an insight onto what really could have happened here. But first to Dr. Narendra Gupta. Dr. Gupta, to your mind, does it look like an example where the states may have utilized the scheme, but under their own state government scheme name, or they've just not consolidated the data, punched it into this, or they've not categorized it separately as COVID and generally just said this is Ayushman Bharat Fund?
Thank you, Tanvi, for having me. And am I audible?
Yes, you are. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So now we first have to understand what this National Health Authority, which administers ABPMJ, Ayushman Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, about which we are talking here. See, NHA is an apex body, but then under it, all different states and state health agencies. They are not authorities. So there's one difference. The other difference is that NHA or PMJ has allowed all these different states to implement this scheme in the way as they wish. Like in some states, there are trusts being created by the state government itself where they have put in money, and from there, if there are any claims of under PMJ, then they reimburse those claims to hospitals. In other places, insurance agencies have been brought in, where insurance agencies take care of the claims. In some states, there are hybrid systems, like insurance and trust both exist. In some places, there are third-party administrators. In some states, there are no. So there's no uniform system which exists as far as the PMJ implementation is concerned in the states, because health, as understood, is a health subject, and there are central government contribution, state government contribution. Then on top of it, what has happened into this PMJ is that they have worked out the packages. So within those packages, if any patient fits in, then of course the treatment could be cashless. But if that patient doesn't fit into those packages, then the patient has to pay out of pocket. And this happens invariably, because what happens is many of the times they say that a part of your illness is covered under the package and the part is not covered. So you have to pay for the some part of your illness, treatment of your illness, and some part, of course, could come from there. All kind of issues exist, and for these reasons, that claims are not settled, and many of the private hospitals, even if they are enrolled and listed into the list of PMJ, they do not entertain patients related to who could be benefited under PMJ. And the same thing could happen everywhere. In some of the states, like the southern states who have already experience of implementing such a scheme, they do it in a much better way and in a much more transparent way. But in other states, like northern states, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, UP, so on and so forth, this is not done in any transparent manner. And this is the reason that the funds remain grossly underutilized. And even if some patients receive treatment under this scheme, they still have made payment of their own pocket. So there is a double payment for this treatment, one out of pocket and another from this PMJ.
Okay.
And it must have happened with COVID, because the cost of treatment under COVID had been phenomenally very, very high. No hospital could agree, because there were no packages fixed for COVID treatment. As you could see that according to this RTI, we find that more money has been spent in testing and less money for the treatment. And there's
in
no
fact,
clear
Dr. Gupta, I'm sure you also know, insurance claims being settled or even being, insurance policies covers being accepted by hospitals is a problem in overall itself, even in the private space, and not just the government schemes, initiated as well. I'm sure there is more resistance to such schemes where payments would any which ways reimbursements would be very delayed from the government's end. But let's get our other representatives in here as well. And Dr. Ajay Kumar, I want to start off with you. To what would you attribute this fact that there are some states like Karnataka, Kerala, Andhra who've utilized 500 crores, 700 crore under this scheme for COVID treatment and testing, and then there are states like Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat who are nowhere to be seen?
Tanvi, on Punjab, I was reading the reports, what's in the public domain, and what I've got to know is the Punjab government is saying that they have treated over 18,000 odd people. That's what they're saying only. So I'm just saying that, and your correspondent was also saying that Punjab and even Jharkhand is contesting it. But the question again is, it definitely doesn't reflect very well on all the governments who are not utilizing the scheme. One point of clarification is that the Ayushman Bharat scheme is 60-40 scheme. That means 60% is the government, 40% is the state government. And the role of the state government also is significant. What is troubling with Ayushman Bharat, and this is not what has happened because during the COVID time, but a majority of the hospitals, private hospitals which have been empaneled are 50, in fact, most of them are 10 beds and below. I don't know if this data, it's in the public domain. So it's something very important for us to understand that hospitals which are having 10 beds and below are not the most ideal locations to manage emergencies of which will come through COVID. Now, what does it, so it reflects, one is that the scheme needs to, on the wisdom of the pandemic, on the hindsight wisdom of the pandemic, I think we need all to agree that hospitals which are below a certain minimum number of beds without certain ICU facilities and certain basic facilities, are they the ideal position to execute the Ayushman Bharat scheme is question number one. This question number two is the Ayushman Bharat scheme, when it is being implemented, are there any risks in terms of execution? Because there are repeated number of stories on frauds happening through the various government-sponsored schemes. Now, take an example. What happened in Uttarakhand? COVID testing is a very good example. Lakhs and lakhs of testing was fraudulently done. I'm not saying that the government did it intentionally. I'm sure the government was wanting to find the right reasons. But at the end of the day, the execution was pretty poor, and it may have happened across the different states. The third point which I want to highlight on the, look, however much we might say that the southern states have contributed 75% of the budget out of 2,000 crores. Tanvi, if you look at the total cost on the citizens, even the poorest sections of this COVID pandemic for the past 18 odd months, is multiplied of 2,000 crores to the factor of maybe 100 or 50 or 100 times more with the poor people. I'm saying people who are beneficiaries of the COVID scheme, of the Ayushman Bharat scheme. Those people themselves may have spent a significant amount of money, because the amount of money, I mean, if it looks from a scheme execution, we might say that, look, 2,000 crores. But actually speaking, this amount of money is very, very minuscule in terms of giving any kind of relief. If you're looking at 4,000 deaths and 4 lakh people daily coming in for a long period of time at an average of 4 lakhs, you just do the math. Even if you do 10,000 rupees per person, it comes to 400 crores for 4 lakh people per day.
So let me actually put this, what you're saying, there is merit to what you're saying, Dr. Ajay Kumar. Let's put this also in perspective. For example, as per government's own data and admission, as of February, about 19,700 crore funds had been utilized under the overall scheme, under the overall Ayushman Bharat scheme since its inception. But if you look at the COVID component, that's just about 2,200 crore. So I get the point that you're making. In the worst kind of the pandemic that we've seen in our country, we should be utilizing a lot more of these funds to help people get access to decent COVID treatment or even testing for that matter. So let's ask this question to Abhay Chaudhary of the YSRCP. Abhay, give us insights on how you've used this scheme on an exhaustive level, at least in your state.
Hi everyone. First thing is health is the paramount priority of our CM because he's committed and determined to provide a health care to every citizen of AP. So AP government has spent 2,229 crore as of end of May just on COVID. So and we also on the second wave we have probably provided around 47,000 beds in 649 dedicated hospitals and also 18,000 oxygen concentrators. And also increased our testing capacity to over 150 lakh testing, over 150 testing centers with 1 lakh testing capacity every day. So if I'm talking from a citizen perspective or being a public representative, I would say doesn't matter where the funds are coming from, whether they are coming from PMJAY or a PM care or whether it's a CM care. End of the day, the citizen of our country need a better treatment in this pandemic times. So from the AP government perspective, we have spent 2,300 crore just on COVID end of May. So our CM is very dedicated, and we are second in the country with lowest mortality of 0.66%.
No, so you are right. This isn't a conversation of where the money is coming from. You're right, absolutely right, Abhay. This is not a conversation on where the money is coming from, whether you took it from the center or from your, your own pockets, but of how we are able to implement it and give this, health cover and these funds to the people who need it. On ground to be able to implement it and to merge it with the central thing, because a lot of states are telling us we did it in the name of a different scheme, or we haven't probably entered the data as a centralized scheme, but it's as part of something else. Could those be the reasons? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, as you said, our state also has a program called YSR Arogyasri. So on YSR Arogyasri, there are close to 2,434 illness are already covered in that particular scheme, where our state spent 16,000 crores on that Arogyasri scheme, and we are the first in this country where we said COVID-19 treatment will be free of cost in YSR Arogyasri. So all the government hospitals and YSR Arogyasri empaneled hospitals were providing a free treatment for COVID. So coming back to the point on I think if PMJAY is only giving 2,200 crores for across the country in the pandemic times, I would assume they should spend 75% or 80% of their budget just on COVID. Because see, just coming back to putting another point perspective, if we look at the developed countries where their infrastructure is compared to our country, and just our state, if you take our state as an example, we have been bifurcated. And after bifurcation, there was no, we don't have an advanced treatments, or we don't have a big hospital set up in Andhra Pradesh. So what our government has done is we have started a program called Nadu Nedu, where we are going to, where we have spending 16,270 crores on that to revamp we are creating a new village clinics. 10,032 village clinics, 560 urban medical clinics. And we also, our CM has also been in Delhi recently, where we said every parliament constituency need a medical college. And,
it is good to know this. We will, of course, have to see how quickly you are able to implement these and set it up, and if they're functional at all. The intention is good, but it's and we would hope that more states do realize this, and the pandemic becomes a learning opportunity for us to start giving healthcare some importance and some focus. But if I can go across to our other panelists as well on this, and before, as I go across to Dr. Sunil Singh, I was looking at the data, Dr. Sunil Singh. Bihar, as per this data, Bihar has only got 19 people who've availed treatment under this scheme. There are states like Punjab, Gujarat and Daman that have registered 0. Uttar Pradesh and Jharkhand, only 875 people and 1400 people, though Jharkhand is contesting this. And then there are states like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Maharashtra treating over 1.5 lakh people each under this scheme. Now, how do you explain this disparity?
Tanvi, as a matter of fact, the data that you was giving for the Bihar for the PMJY scheme is not the only indicator of the health management of the state. Health was well managed by the state during the COVID second wave. As a matter of fact, that is why the result is that in Bihar today, the positivity rate is less than 0.3%, recovery rate is more than 98%, and the active cases number has gone down. But the way and the COVID treatment was more or less free in all the government hospitals. The testings were more than 1.5 lakhs, 1.2.5 lakhs every day, free of cost by the government. And all the medical colleges, they were dedicated COVID hospital free. So COVID was well managed and well funded by the government. And as for the utilization of PMJY scheme, I don't know exactly about the data, but then yes, I think that prima facie it looks the kind of a objection that many states had about the authenticity of the data. I have my own doubts about the data. But then utilizing the fund of PMJY scheme does not necessarily mean the enthusiasm of the state health government in the COVID health management. We managed it well. Honorable Nitish Kumar managed it well. We had free dedicated COVID hospitals in all the medical colleges. There were 3 in Patna, even sub-divisional hospitals. And the treatment was free of cost down to the rural level, more than 1.25 lakhs. So whatever it is, as for the exact, I think we should.
No, but are you saying that there is no clarity on whether or not you are utilizing this scheme? It's this free centers and free treatment that you're talking about is being borne by the state?
Look, as for the data, I don't have the exact thing, but as many states are doubting the authenticity of the data, I have also reasons to doubt about it, but I'm not sure about it. But one thing is very sure, funds, wherever it came from, Honorable Nitish Kumar was doing a microscopic monitoring of each and every aspect of the COVID management, and we managed it well. So the COVID is under control in Bihar. Even yesterday the vaccination rate was the highest in Bihar. So Bihar, we are doing well. As for the
but let me just point one thing out to you, Dr. Singh, and you need to check up on this data, and Mr. Nitish Kumar also needs to perhaps tell us why is it so. But your state isn't very fond of the scheme itself, even though you're allies of the BJP, and this is Prime Minister Modi's pet scheme announced in 2018. I'm looking at the data that the government has given us overall of the scheme, and Bihar actually has only utilized 1.1% otherwise as well. So there are states like Andhra Pradesh who've utilized 15% of the overall funds of the scheme in the last 3 years. And states like Bihar haven't gone beyond 1%. So it's not just a COVID specific problem. It seems to be either you've not implemented it, or you believe that there is a state scheme that helps, or that healthcare really doesn't exist and there is no record of it in the state of Bihar. I want to bring in at this point Mr. Raghavan Srinivasan. Mr. Srinivasan, I'm sure you've seen a lot of these stories in the data that has emerged. How do you read it? Is there a mismatch, or is it also reflective of how individual states are actually using this scheme?
It is primarily reflective of how the states have approached the scheme. Okay, now the entire utilization of this scheme is a function of two factors. One is the number of hospitals which have been enrolled, and the other is the number of beneficiaries who have been enrolled in the scheme. If you look at the data, you will find that the top 5 states, which are predominantly the southern states, West Bengal and Maharashtra, account for 60% of enrollments of hospitals and a slightly higher number of enrollment of beneficiaries. So there are a number of states which are lagging very badly in terms of enrollment. So if you don't have adequate beneficiaries, people are not going to form proffer a claim under the scheme. Likewise, if you don't have adequate number of hospitals empaneled under the scheme, both public and private, you're not going to have the scheme because it's just not offered to a potential care seeker. So if you look at the, if you look at the empanelment data for hospitals, and if you look at the beneficiary enrollment data, many of the states which have done poorly, I think 0 and all is an aberration. That's a data capturing error. It's not that the thing, but by and large, the trends are not wrong. Those which have, and the states which have done the best under this are the ones which actually ran efficient and well targeted health schemes on their own as a state scheme before this came as a state cum central scheme. As Dr. Ajoy Kumar pointed out, the states pay nearly half the money, 40%, right? 60% goes with this thing, but there are certain conditions. The Pradhan Mantri, this thing has to be attached to before the scheme operated by the state. The beneficiary cards carry the picture of the Prime Minister, and there are many states which are upset by this because all states, also look at some kind of political payback when they do this, and they feel that it's the BJP which is getting the credit and not the states which are actually footing most of the bill, or at least a substantial part of the bill. So those have also been reasons why many states have backpedaled on the scheme. They have not adapted it enthusiastically. I think the thing is that in the southern states, which had a organized and efficient state level scheme, plus, see, the thing is that the other thing about this program is that it finances only the demand side. Demand side, that is the patient going for cover and, being able to meet part or all of the cost through the insurance scheme. But it doesn't address the supply side. It is not funding creation of new hospitals, addition of new beds. As the COVID pandemic has amply demonstrated, I think that is the problem. That this actually began under the UPA, under Mr. Chidambaram. I think he started the first, insurance scheme as a sort of substitute for actual healthcare provision on the ground. And that has been amplified by every successive government, including the two NDA governments. And, what that has happened is that it has led to a sort of, privatization of the healthcare delivery system, while at the same time absolving the government, political administrations from the political fallout of actually not providing healthcare. And that became visible only during the COVID pandemic when people were dying because they could not get a hospital bed or they could not get oxygen. And I think the political blowback of that will be revealed as we go into elections further ahead. But, till that time, everybody was content to kick the can down the road.
Yes,
and that's one of the problems, that, you're addressing the demand side, but you're not addressing the supply side.
Yes, and look at what we saw even in terms of larger pain coming from states like Uttar Pradesh, where that the healthcare isn't very strong, hasn't traditionally been very strong. Attempts may be being made now to improve it, but then you're also not using these schemes. Then you have states which are very famous for smoother, well-established healthcare systems and services like Tamil Nadu and Kerala, who seem to be still the ones who are utilizing these schemes in a much bigger manner. I mean, Maharashtra is the other one, though, which is here with a big chunk of funds being utilized. But Rajasthan is not, Ajoy Kumar. So, while Punjab and Gujarat as zero may be an aberration, but what explains even Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan not using it? A state like Chhattisgarh should be the first one to say, we don't have the money, but we need to treat people and help them, and let's utilize this scheme as much as we can.
Look, Tanvi, I think Mr. Raghavan put it up very correctly. The fact is that the states which have utilized the funds are the southern states who have remarkably shown earlier also that their health infrastructure is better. There's no debate going on that fact. I mean, I did my medicine in Pondicherry and Tamil Nadu, for that matter, and Telangana, Andhra, Karnataka, Kerala has got much better health infrastructure. The debate is, yes, much lesser hospitals empaneled comparatively, because you cannot utilize the funds unless you don't empanel more hospitals. But my understanding, my limited understanding, I'm not an expert on the Ayushman Bharat per se, but what I read in the public domain is that majority of these hospitals are smaller hospitals, more prone to misuse, more prone to, and it's pan-India issue. I mean, it's not a Congress or a BJP issue. It is dangerous for any government to kick the can of providing healthcare. I totally agree with what Mr. Raghavan said and put it very well, that the public health services cannot be, sacrificed on the altar of health insurance fundamentally, because we don't have adequate resources to provide everybody the health cover in a private setup in a genuine manner. We can say that we are providing you and ensure that you don't get it. That's a different issue. That's what we have continued to do. We say that we are going to give you healthcare, but we don't. So those are two issues. But the debates, today's perspective from a simple perspective was, I didn't know the numbers from Andhra, but if Andhra has spent 2,000 crores only on COVID, and the nation has spent 2,000 crore on its most vulnerable population on COVID through the Ayushman Bharat scheme, there is fundamentally something wrong happening here. I have the Andhra number. I'm glad to that Mr. Abhay Chaudhary was.
No, but those are overall numbers in creating the infrastructure as well. I mean, this is just one scheme.
No, but
the correct comparison would be to the centre's health budget, which also many may say isn't enough.
No, but Tanvi, I'll just do the math. See, I keep doing, I just do the math. If you look at the maths, 4 lakh people, even if you do a basic treatment numbers, and they said that the Indian actual treatment numbers were higher, people who were infected were higher. So if you multiply 4 lakh, well, let's imagine conservatively twice or thrice. It is approximately 1 million a day. So you would need at least closer to something like, to 100 crore kind of a number during the peak of COVID. So I'm not saying that this scheme is, I feel somebody like your channel, the public debate should be lesser on schemes like Ayushman Bharat. It should be on creating public health infrastructure. Whether Mr. Sunil Singh is saying in Bihar they're doing it, I'm glad if they're doing it. But I'm not saying, all of us have to say that the Ayushman Bharat and these kind of schemes are a way to prevent, to find an easy exit of providing healthcare, and it applies to all the across political spectrum. I'm just wearing a policy cap right now and saying that we must. I'll finish off with this thing. So, important for all political leaders. What Mr. Raghavan said was spot on. Create health infrastructure. Let's not depend on private sector to do it, because believe me, it will not work for a country like ours, where majority of the people are just trying to make 2 ends meet.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Chaudhary wanted to make a point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I absolutely agree with Mr. Dr. Ajay Kumar and also Mr. Raghavan statement earlier. So if we come back to this, I mean, just on Andhra Pradesh, just on COVID, not on infrastructure, just on COVID, our spend as of May 20th, officially that I have is 2,229 crores. We have spent just on COVID. So Ayushman Bharat has spent that across the whole country, 2,200. Absolutely, there is something that need to be corrected there. That's my first point. And second thing is, the first and foremost priority, our Honorable CM keeps repeatedly saying healthcare infrastructure need to get a boost. So that's the reason we have started this program called Nadu Nedu, where we revamp all the government hospitals, right from PHC to the teaching hospitals. And we want a teaching hospital and a medical college in every parliament constituency. Imagine India, across the country, if there is a village level clinic, and if there is a parliament, at each parliament level, if we got a medical college and a teaching hospital, and if we can revamp all PHCs to the standards of the private hospitals, I think that's exactly what our citizens are required at this point of time. So I would personally say PMJAY has to expand and definitely seriously need to look into it, why some states are not utilizing it, whether some states are utilizing it. Okay. Absolutely, every state is in a dire crisis right now in this pandemic. And AP, if they can give us another 2,000 crores just to AP, absolutely, we are happy to take it. Because we need, our CM wanted to provide a quality healthcare to every citizen of our state.
So I have a couple of more aspects I wanted to cover.
From the vaccination perspective also, we have
If I can just come in here, I just wanted to do stay on with me, Abhay. I just want to go across to Dr. Vivek Pandey, who's joining us on this conversation right now. Dr. Vivek is actually the one who filed this RTI, seeking the details of the funds that had been utilized for COVID treatment, for COVID testing, and how many people had actually benefited or availed this scheme. Dr. Pandey, पहले तो ये आप क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन ढूंढना चाह रहे थे जब आपने ये फाइल किया, और इसको किस तरीके से इंटरप्रेट करते हैं, क्योंकि इसमें कुछ स्टेट्स में बहुत ज़्यादा यूटिलाइजेशन है और कुछ स्टेट्स तो जीरो दिखा रहा है, जो एक्सपर्ट्स कह रहे तो पॉसिबल नहीं है।
एक्चुअली इसको आरटीआई को फाइल करने का उद्देश्य यही था कि लगातार जो कोविड के केसेस बढ़ते जा रहे थे और गरीब वर्ग जो इसमें आ रहा था, और गरीब वर्ग के लिए आयुष्मान भारत योजना को लागू किया गया था। जो व्यक्ति अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकता है, जो अपनी पैसे देकर ट्रीटमेंट नहीं करवा सकता है, तो कोरोना की त्रासदी में उस व्यक्ति और उस पर्सन को कितना लाभ हुआ, मैंने ये जानने के लिए आरटीआई को फाइल किया था। मेरा प्राइमरी उद्देश्य ये था कि जानना कि व्यक्ति को कितना लाभ मिला है। तो जो डेटा मेरे पास निकल के आया, तो मैं ये देख रहा हूँ कि जो साउथ के जो स्टेट्स हैं, जैसे आंध्र प्रदेश, कर्नाटका, केरला हो गया, तमिलनाडु हो गया, इन स्टेट्स ने काफी ज्यादा यूटिलाइजेशन किया इस फंड का, इससे काफी लोगों को फायदा मिला है। और जो हमारे नॉर्थ के स्टेट्स है, जो मिडिल के जो स्टेट्स है, वहां पर लगभग ये जीरो ही रहा है। जैसे गुजरात की हम बात कर रहे हैं, गोवा की भी हम बात कर रहे हैं, वहां पर कोई टेस्टिंग नहीं हुआ, किसी भी व्यक्ति को फायदा नहीं मिला है। उसके अलावा हमने भी देखा है पंजाब का भी जिक्र हो रहा है, जो बाद में डेटा निकल के आया कि वो कह रहे हैं कि 18,000 के आसपास हमने लोगों को फायदा पहुंचाया है। पर जो आरटीआई के हिसाब से मैं देख रहा हूँ, तो ये जो कुछ स्टेट गिने चुने स्टेट हैं, 4-5, जो लगातार इस फंड को यूज कर रहे हैं, लोगों को फायदा पहुंचा रहे हैं। पर उसके अलावा भारत देश के जितने भी अलग और राज्य हैं, वहां पर इसका कोई भी यूटिलाइजेशन नहीं हो पाया है।
ये आपने बिल्कुल सही कहा। और अगर मैं ये डेटा देखूं तो इसमें कुछ स्टेट्स हैं जैसे कि गुजरात, एंड आई वांट टू हाईलाइट दिस, which perhaps makes us wonder what has happened here, Mr. Raghavan. If I look at Gujarat's utilization under the PMI scheme, overall they have utilized 15% of the funds so far given. But if we look at just this, is much lower. Is it possible really, how do we explain this, that if a state already has a system in place, they've already empaneled the hospitals, they've already gotten people aware of this, that this scheme exists, they have a process which functions otherwise, but is not able to be converted for COVID related purposes?
Well, again, I think this is again a function of a number of things, including how the system is actually administered on the ground. What happens when a potential beneficiary lands up at a center and says, "Look, I am a beneficiary. Will I make this thing?" So, I was just looking at the rough numbers. If you look at the kind of per head treatment cost which is showing up on these numbers, even for the states which have utilized a lot, it is working out to about 40,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees per capita, which by all anecdotal evidence is very low compared to the actual bills people have been getting for COVID treatment. Uninsured people, those who went into private sector or this thing, etc. Government, of course, in many states, in many places, everywhere, it is offering free or near free treatment, but other hospitals, this amount appears a little low. So it's a function of how it has been administered. Also, I think there is in terms of what are the packages, how it was sort of notified in each state, what was allowed, what is not allowed, what could be claimed, and how that information got transmitted down. Because how is any insurance scheme administered at the end? You have an intake point in a hospital where that person decides, whether the thing, and there's probably an insurance back test. So how does that, we need to look at how these things have been functioning out there to get a handle on why some states have just done so well and some have done so poorly under the COVID head.
Correct. Under the COVID head. Or maybe some of these states didn't put it under the COVID head, but ended up using the scheme in some or the other fashion. There was, remember, initially a lot of confusion in general about, schemes and even private insurance schemes on what of COVID can be covered, can be paid for, and what isn't. Very quickly to Dr. Narendra Gupta. Dr. Gupta, if we see some of the other states which are lagging behind, like I pointed out earlier, also are states who don't have a very strong healthcare infrastructure and have a large population which would need help from the government in terms of paying for these bills. Is it also reflective that they have not managed to properly utilize the scheme itself? They don't have the hospitals, they don't have people who are making the medical officials aware of it in a state like Uttar Pradesh, जहाँ पे hospital ही functional नहीं है, वहाँ पे कैसे ही पता होगा कि ये scheme भी use हो सकती है?
Yeah, see, we need to look at that how our state wanted to finance this treatment of COVID for their patients. So, like in the southern states, they planned it out that they use this Ayushman Bharat scheme also to finance the treatment for COVID patients. But in northern states, they could not figure it out for two reasons. One reason is that this money under Ayushman Bharat is tied to packages, and these packages are linked with the insurance company with which you have worked out your contract for providing reimbursements to hospitals who do treatments under these packages. So you cannot all of a sudden say, no, we also want money for or you settle claims related to patients which are suffering from COVID. It cannot be done just arbitrarily by the states. States which have set up trust means they have the money within in their own control, they can do it easily, and that is what's been done in the states of the south, which was not possible in states like Gujarat or Rajasthan, Punjab, and these where they have the insurance companies, because insurance companies would not agree for this kind of an arrangement. This is one part about the COVID. Then the other important aspect in this is that people have to buy medicines at exorbitant cost, 4 times, 5 times, 10 times the cost, remdesivir, favipiravir, or any other drug I can talk of, or even oxygen cylinders people had to run around to get. All those things happened essentially because they never felt, patients and their relatives never felt that they are insured in any way about these requirements. That is one. Then private hospitals. See, within Ayushman Bharat, there are certain packages which are available for treatment in private hospital as well as in the government hospital. There are certain which are just available for government hospitals.
Right.
So there's a whole mixture of things and nothing is very clear that where for which treatment one is eligible for. So this eligibility criteria is very, very important. And then again, Ayushman Bharat is not for everybody. It is only for the patients who are from that SECC category, who are identified under socio-economic caste census, which was done in 2012. After that, many states have added persons, families of different categories as well.
Correct.
But there's uniform pattern into all this. And this is the issue about how we finance. And as many of the panelists have said, that the issue makes Ayushman Bharat makes the whole thing much more complicated, difficult. Certain hospitals have certain facilities, other hospitals don't have facilities. All those kind of things happen. Yeah. You have to make some uniform, universal system of medical care, healthcare, access to healthcare. That is
maybe,
very, very
and you need to make people aware of it as well, and you know, have conversations with hospitals about it. I mean, fair that you say that it's a little complicated, but 5 states have managed to you know, utilize it to a certain extent. They can do a lot more. They can utilize a lot more of these funds. You know, 2,000 crore is barely anything in terms of a pandemic where 2 waves have hit us and completely shaken up the entire country. So a lot more should be done even by these 5 states. But the others really need to buck up. And if there are any mismatches, then the government needs to come out and tell us why the information is falling through these loopholes. It needs to be a proper, centralized, consolidated system. Only when we know where the schemes are being utilized, to what extent, how many people are benefiting from it, in what manner, can we come up with better policies? Policy making is a lot dependent on ground reality. It's a lot dependent on the data that you get. Only when you analyze and know the real pain points, the real issues on ground, who needs your support in what manner, how many people need this support, are there certain states who need it more than the others, certain classes of people, are we saying that we will cover your health with this much money, but it's actually not happening on ground because of certain technical issues? These need to be found out. Otherwise, how else will you make your policy better for the people of this country? It's as simple as that. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation.